do it again. Start again. Ready?
No, we're gonna keep rolling.
I'm just gonna start again.
We're gonna keep rolling. So today it's just the two of us, and we're gonna discuss some travel tips. We have done a fair amount of traveling ourselves. I've been to Vietnam, Bali, Hong Kong, Italy, London, Spain, Canada, Mexico. I'm probably missing some places. Philippines, US, obviously. Braden's been to
Croatia, Austria, Spain, France, Prague, Bali, Hong Kong, and a bunch of places in the US and Mexico. Probably missing a few too.
So, along the way, we've gained some knowledge on travel, and we want to share some tips with you guys.
Stuff that we think will simplify your travel, make it easier, make it more fun, and help you along the way.
So tip number one would be patience is very, very important when traveling.
Patience is a virtue.
Things are not always going to go your way. You're going to be in sticky situations.
Stuff's not always going to go your way when you travel. A perfect example of this is me and my good friend KJ and Tenet. We were out in Spain. We were traveling all around Europe, I think last summer, and KJ's bag actually got lost in Spain, and we were supposed to be there for a week. This kid lost his bag, and we had to go. There's street markets all throughout Barcelona, so we went down to the street market, got him some underwear, some fake Calvin Kleins, got him a bunch of other stuff, and he survived out the week, but huge pain in the ass. It was a massive inconvenience, and he sucked it up, but like I would have been super pissed off, but that stuff happens when you travel. It's inevitable. You just kind of got to roll with the punches when you travel.
100%. Patience is super, super important. Things are not always going to go your way, whether that's like losing your bag, dealing with foreigners, or dealing with the locals in a different language, language barrier. Just be patient. You'll get through it, and don't let something like ruin the whole trip for you.
Totally.
Next topic would be always bring an extra debit or credit card with you. I just had this happen to me. I lost my wallet, and I did have two cards. I lost my wallet, stopped the two cards immediately.
It's unreal.
But you should bring two cards because one card, the bank situation with traveling, one card might be blocked for some reason. Your bank might block one card, and then you'll have the other card to use. But in my situation, I kind of wish I had three cards. One to like leave at home or like not take out with me when I'm going on like day trips. So in that case, my wallet would have been stolen, and I would have had the backup card that I would have left at home, and still could be using that instead of just living off Braden's cash.
Another thing with that, I would say always have spare cash on the side. Something that I used to do when we traveled is I would just have it all on my debit card. I recommend applying for a credit card and getting a credit card and not spending it just randomly. Only spend it on food and stuff. That way you generate points. You can get a free flight out of it, and it also doesn't take a fee. So when you travel out of the country, out of the US, if you're from the US, you swipe that debit card, you get charged like a 1% fee, I believe, with every single time you swipe. So either have cash already pulled out, which is what we do, or use a credit card.
Sometimes if you're getting a taxi, they won't always take cards, so it's important to have cash, and some restaurants won't take card, and it's important to have cash. If you're pulled over by the police in a country where they need some money, it's important to have cash.
Take cash everywhere with you, and you'll never have a problem.
Yes, always carry cash.
100%.
Next tip would be slow down to enjoy your trip.
100%.
I know a lot of people will book like a week trip, and they'll spend like months before planning out every minute to every day what they plan on doing. It's important to kind of take advantage of the time you have wherever you are, but also it's important to not get overwhelmed with over planning stuff, and make sure you have time to relax and be spontaneous if you want to do like a random trip.
I think the coolest things that I've personally seen on my trips was the friends that I've traveled with. They're not very they don't usually plan their days out, and I think the coolest things and places that we found were just waking up and sending it to a random place. And I think same with me and Chad when we were together. It's just going to it. We'd wake up at 6 a.m. be like, where are we going today? Plan out like a 3-hour trip to the coolest waterfall in Bali. And
Yeah,
I think
the first time Braden and I came to Bali, booked the flights, and I think we had like a 2-week trip, and we booked the first Airbnb for like 3 days on the flight out here, and had zero planned. And then after we booked that Airbnb, we just booked another one for a couple days, and then kept booking as we went. Didn't really plan anything didn't really plan anything for each day. Just kind of woke up each day and figured out what we were gonna do.
It's the most fun ever.
Exactly, and that was like the most fun trip we'd had.
Yeah.
The next one would be learn a few foreign words.
Totally. Oh, I can go off on this. So when I was in Prague, my boy KJ, people that were Czech told us that the Czech people really dislike Americans, but they really appreciate it if you just attempt to learn their language. And so I learned how to say thank you, which is dobrý den, and I really can't remember what please was, but there was a few, there was like 4 or 5 words that we learned how to say. And when you go into a coffee shop and you just greet them with hey, how are you? Immediate mood change. They're way more welcoming. They're like, wow, we appreciate that you're trying to learn our language. And I think the same thing with Indonesia. We know how to say thank you, which is terima kasih, I believe, right? That's how you say it.
Ben, how do you say thank you?
Oh, spot on.
Yeah. And suksma, it's the same thing, but they really appreciate it in this culture, and I've noticed that everywhere I go. If you learn a little bit of language, foreigners definitely appreciate that.
100%. Booking flights. Huge tip is make sure you book the cheapest flight.
How much was your flight to Bali?
$450 US round trip.
So I know most people probably think that our flights were just like $1,500 to $2,000, and they're just not if you book in advance.
LA to Bali can go up to maybe like $1,200 as the most expensive flight round trip, but you just have to search the web, book at the right times, and just search till you find the cheap flight. We both use a site called justfly.com.
Incognito browsers every single time.
And incognito browsers, because if you're on a public browser and say you're like booking a flight with a friend and you're each searching, you're like sitting next to each other, each searching the same flight, the same days, the same times, one person might get it for like $300, and then they'll see that flight's being popular and a lot of people are searching it, and then they'll bump the next person's price up. So one person might get it for $300, and the next person might get it for like $500-$600.
Shit.
So
yeah, that happens. It's crazy.
make sure you're using incognito browser. Use justfly.com because that site tends to have the cheapest flights.
Totally agree. Oh, and also like fly cheap. It doesn't flying first class somewhere. You can suck it up for like 10 hours. We've flown like economy for like all the flights. I'd never have a problem with it as long as the seat reclines. I'm chilling.
One other tip is if you're traveling out of the country, most countries have different plugs to use for power.
Ooh.
So always make sure that you have the right adapter for that country.
Totally.
And bonus tip, I forgot to bring it this trip. Thank God Ben had it, but is bring a power strip, especially if you're
100%.
trying to charge a lot of things at one time. You can have the adapter and then have your country's plugs in the power strip, which makes it way more easier to charge things. Like we're charging things all the time, batteries, laptops, cameras, phones.
Totally.
So have the right adapter, bring a power strip.
It's also, I think, convenient if you just go on Amazon. Mine actually literally broke on the trip, so I had to go buy a new one, but I had one that was for Europe, Asia, and the US, so it was really clutch to just have like 3 different plugs, and they're like $10.
How was that experience buying a new one?
It was really shitty. Yeah, it wasn't fun.
Why's that?
So to get a new power strip, we went to like a little mini mart. They're everywhere on the side of the road. Go snag one. Boys were at a cafe working. I couldn't charge, so I went to grab one about 5-10 minutes away. Come back, try and plug in my thing. I got an Australia plug. The guy thought I said Australia, said USA. I'm like, okay, not his fault. Go back. I'm like, yeah, I need a US plug. Gives me a US plug. I'm like, okay, this is definitely a thing. We get there, and it literally just doesn't work. So then we had to wait the whole next day and go to like a little bit nicer mini mart, and they had the plug. So it took a whole 24 hours to get a new plug for the laptop.
If you can't charge things, you have a dead phone, dead laptop, you're kind of screwed.
Yeah, you're screwed.
So make sure you have the right adapters.
Totally.
Next tip, make friends with locals.
100%.
Locals know the best food spots, the best ways to get around, the best places to stay, the best destinations to go. If you have trouble speaking the language of someone, they can kind of translate for you, and it's just fun to kind of like immerse yourself in the culture and not just be a tourist.
Totally. I think some of the coolest things that we saw was our last trip to Indonesia. We actually had a driver, and he was a local, and he just told us like a bunch about the culture. And while we were driving to one of our spots, just involving like diving into the culture, we asked to stop at a traditional Bali restaurant, which are called warungs. That means restaurant in Balinese. And we stopped, had some really cool traditional food. It was just hotter than hell.
Way too spicy.
Oh my god,
Balinese love
they
spice.
love their spice over here. But it was fun, and he taught us like everything that we should try and order and like what they order. And it was just really cool to see that side of their daily lives. You also like when you meet new people out here that have stayed out here, they know that spots aren't as touristy. If you just type it on Google for just an example for Bali, like you're gonna get the same like 7-8 places, and when you go to them, it's not what you see on like Instagram. It's not just this like lush place with nobody there. There's typically like lots of people, and the way to find those secret spots is from people that have either lived here, like Ben for example, or people that are locals that to the secret spots.
An example that tomorrow I'm actually going to go to a beach that a Balinese friend is going to show me, and it's supposed to be like a secret black sand beach that like nobody knows about. And yeah, we'll never find out about it if I just Google black sand beach. So
yeah, totally.
Make friends with locals. Also, try traveling by yourself.
I've yet to do that, but
Brayden's yet to do that. I did it a couple months ago. I came to Bali for 3 weeks by myself, and it was probably one of the most fun things I've ever done. It forces you to get out of your comfort zone, try new things, meet new people, problem solve because you're gonna run into problems when you're traveling by yourself.
I got a question for you. So when you came by yourself, how did your day differ from what it was right now? I mean, did you meet new people, or what would you say was like biggest and most fun that you had?
It's similar to right now.
Mm-hmm.
If I lost I was thinking about this earlier. If I lost my wallet and I was by myself, I would have just been screwed.
Right. Like, what actually would you have done? You've been screwed, 100%.
I would have been 100% screwed. I have no idea. So if you're traveling by yourself, make sure you have backups on backups on backups.
100%. Same thing with
everything
phones.
that's super important.
Oh my god, backup phone. Remember that?
Yeah. Oh, while I was traveling by myself here in Bali, like the first night, I remember I got on my motorbike and was coming back to my hotel I was staying at, parked the motorbike, walked up to my room, and was like looking for my phone. I had no idea where my phone was, and I had an idea I might have like left it in the motorbike.
Unreal.
So I walked outside. This was probably like 20 minutes later of me like scrounging through the hotel room trying to find my phone. I walked outside back to the motorbike. Mind you, it was like a super popular hotel on a super busy street. People coming and going like crazy. And I walked outside. My phone was just on the ground next to the motorbike. And if I would have lost my phone, I would have just been screwed. That was the beginning of the trip. No idea what I would have done. So if you're traveling by yourself, be super, super careful. But also when you're traveling by yourself, you don't have, like, you can literally do whatever you want. You don't have like friends with you that they might want to do something different than you do. So you can plan your day literally exactly how you want to. And it forces you to get out of your comfort zone, do new things.
It's all of our travel tips. I think we're going to segue now into a few stories that Chad and I have from when we traveled. I think the first night we actually ever spent in Bali, we were in a little city called Seminyak, which is like very touristy. We decided to go out. We really had no idea what we were going to expect. So we go out and Chad's like, we need to rent motorbikes. I'm like, okay, let's go rent motorbikes. And so
it's the only way to get around Bali.
Yeah, so I've never ridden a motorcycle or a dirt bike in my entire life. And we walk up to this place, and the guy's like, yeah, do you know how to ride it? And I go, yeah, like absolutely not. And he goes, well, here's the good part. He goes, you either die or you learn how to ride it. And I was like, holy shit, like this is good. He goes, here's all you need to know, brake and stop. And I was like, dude, like what? And he just like gave me a pat on the back and told me to get on my way. And I was like, oh my God, I'm actually gonna die. We end up going out. We meet this guy. We come out and there's like a bunch of taxi drivers there. They're always waiting for people to like give rides to. And this guy's like, hey boys, my name's Dollar. I'm we're like, that's kind of an interesting name. And so Dollar ended up me and Chad rides all night until like 4 a.m. and we ended up going, I think, to like 4 or 5 different clubs. And we would come out, it was like the scene of The Hangover, and he'd be like, boys, where are we off to next? And we'd just hop on Dollar's bike, the 3 of us, and we just scooted all around Seminyak all night long and ended up at some weird cafe at like 4 in the morning because we were hungry. And he ate, we like bought him lunch, and then he drove us home. And he's like, same time tomorrow. And we're like, oh my God.
We gotta see if we can find Dollar.
I haven't seen Dollar. We haven't really been around his area, but if you're watching, listen, Dollar, you're a good guy.
One story, it was from the same trip. Brayden and I went to the rice terraces here in Ubud. Super popular tourist place. Highly recommend if you're coming here to Bali. But at the rice terraces, they have these swings, like super big swings.
Oh,
you have to like
God.
strap in, and you go like probably, I don't know, 50 feet in the air, just swinging back and forth. And the locals
Great
like
time.
pull you up and kind of like swing you and like throw you, and it's a good time.
It's fun for like $3.
And I think I went first
Mm-hmm.
on the swing, and Brayden was taking photos of me on the swing.
Oh my God.
And I was swinging up, coming back. Brayden was taking
How fast do you
photo.
think you're going before you like get into
While
it?
you're swinging, you're probably going like
15, 20?
15, 20 miles an hour.
You're
So
flying.
I go forward, I'm swinging back. Brayden's behind me taking photos. I, in the viewfinder, not really paying attention to how close I am to him.
Yeah.
I'm coming back on the swing, just completely nail Brayden.
Oh my God.
I
knocked
hit the camera nails Brayden in the nose gushing blood.
Just.
And the locals there, they had a good crack out of it, but then they helped us with like some like
They doctored me
Balinese
up.
plant and like rubbing the plant on Brayden's face and doctored him up and got him looking a little bit better.
Dude, my face was so effed up that whole trip, and it scarred. So like the camera, we thought it just hit my nose and just like it basically peeled off the skin right here, and I still have a little scar. But then the camera, I guess when it hit, like dove down into my skin, so I had a fat bruise that like covered my whole. I looked like I just got in the gnarliest street fight. It was horrendous. People everywhere we went, and I was like, maybe it's Chad's like, it's looking a little bit better today. Every cafe. Oh my God, your face is so bad. I'm like, ripped.
That was before the accident. But
Oh man.
I think that's gonna wrap up the pod. Hope you guys enjoyed those tips. Hope you got something out of it.
Let us know what you guys are thinking of these daily vlogs. We're having a bunch of fun posting them. I think the podcast really shakes things up, adds a little bit more dimension to the channel, and we're having a lot of fun. So hopefully you guys got something out of it, and we'll see you guys all tomorrow back with a normal show. Peace out.
I'll be rolling round. I just need to get away, no slowing down. Do you even know what I've been talking about? Do you even
Oh, you just want to play? You're like a little dog. Oh, yeah, you got tricks. Roll around.